Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Whoops. Hello? Whoops. Hello?
Oh, are
Whoops.
you on like 4?
Hello? There I am. I don't know what mic this is. It don't have no number on it that I can see.
Always use 3.
All right. Well, here we are, kind of, sort of. Welcome back to everybody after our Memorial Day weekend. Hey, so, I keep thinking it's Monday because, it's the first day of work this week. But in fact, this just in, it's Tuesday. And my sister Susan was cognizant of the fact, and she has phoned in. Suze, hi.
Hi, yeah, I remembered, and I had a private bet with myself that there was a 50-50 chance that you'd forget.
Yeah, right.
And then I remembered, but I call in, so that way they can't forget to call me.
That's right. That's right. And we for those of you who listen in real time, we're a few minutes late today getting started. So thank you for your patience. Oh dear, Suze, I don't know where to start as usual. I bet every show I start that way now. I do. I don't know where to start.
Well, because it's just you can't make any of it up, and it just keeps rolling.
Yeah, I heard that. I never was into it, but the Kevin Spacey show, House of Cards. I tried to watch it when everybody was raving about it, but I mean, to me, again, anything set now in the Oval Office is just I don't want to go there. I'm there too often. I don't want to be reminded of it. All those shows, and apparently, it's hurting their ratings. People can't do it, and also they can't rise to the level of absurdity that they. Reality is more absurd than whatever their writers can come up with. So I don't know. It's killing them.
That was always sort of thinking people's political dramas, and we've got enough. I mean, I'm sure people are just too exhausted to watch it.
No, you just can't do it. Can't go there. I just want a few little things that I think I just can't remember what's happened. Did I talk about this on Thursday or Friday? I don't know. I mean, it just, as you said, it just keeps piling up. But just a few things. Did you see him? Did you see him like at the end of the European visit? They're in Sicily. And I think the world leaders are sitting there, and the Italian head of state is speaking, probably a farewell speech, thank you, and blah, 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 or a welcoming speech, whatever. And they're all sitting at this long table. This would be the G7. And everybody has headphones on because he's speaking in Italian, right? And so they get immediate translation. And you go down the line. There's Merkel, she's listening. There's so-and-so listening. Some of them are, watching the guy and listening. And then there's Trump sitting there. He does not have headphones on. He's refusing to listen. And his head's down. And he's just, it's little things like that this petulant, rude, that I just cringe.
Oh, it's just awful, and I don't know. I didn't pay enough attention because again it's too horrible. But there's this big brouhaha because he apparently, quote surreptitiously unquote gave one of them the finger. Sat there, with his middle finger extended, sort of scratching his head, like in a fifth grader's attempt to pretend like he wasn't doing that.
Really? I hadn't seen that. Are you sure?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he really does scratch his head with his middle finger. I can see where you would do that.
Well, maybe he does, but someone should tell him not to, because again, it was picked up and in pictures of it and screaming about it, everywhere. And and every single one of those leaders that he met with, including Israel, including the Palestinians, including all of the NATO leaders, to a woman and a man, have just said the same thing, that he's awful, he's rude, he's disgusting, he's not to be trusted, even Netanyahu.
No, he hasn't said that publicly.
Yeah, I was reading it this morning. I mean, his reviews were universally bad.
The Saudis loved him. He loved the Saudis. They're on the same page, he and the Saudis. I guess I don't even know why I'm bothering, focusing on these little things, because the big thing is that
we'll put it the way Trump put it. Everyone except the Middle East. Which does not include it. Everyone except the Middle East didn't like him, which does not include Israel.
No, he said with Netanyahu standing next to him, well, I left the Middle East.
I left the Middle East.
Right, and Ron Dermer, who was I used to be the ambassador, I don't know, the Israeli ambassador at the United States. He just, you saw him, he just like put his head down. Oh my God! I know. But here's the scary thing. He has managed to upend the world order that has been in place since the end of World War II.
Yep.
Just like that. Just like that. You got the Europeans.
Allies are no longer our allies.
No, you got our allies now saying, obviously, we cannot rely on the United States anymore. I mean, this is unbelievable. Into what vacuum? I mean, Russia has got to be just
exultant.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I bet they're like, it's sort of like the 9/11 when the towers came down. The bad guys had to be, what the fuck? I can't believe we did that. Yeah. Same kind of thing, and same kind of damage to the very guts of our... he's dangerous to the world. And who said that? Oh, Der Spiegel just flat out said, he's got to be gotten rid of. He is dangerous to the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, he ain't going anywhere as far as I can tell, and the wheels of justice in this country do not spin merrily along. They creak slowly forward. The other little moment I want to say, just again, cringifying moment. Did you see him at Arlington on yesterday?
Memorial Day is a hard day in this family, so no.
You just don't look
when we
anywhere.
saw that he was, we turned it off.
Yeah.
Because we didn't want to sully the day.
Well, here's the video that's sort of making the rounds. I mean, this is not something that reporting would report about. It's just a picture. And it's a picture of I believe a Marine, and then Secretary of Defense Mattis, General Mattis, and then the Commander-in-Chief, one Donald J. Trump. And the three of them are standing there, and the Star-Spangled Banner is playing. And the Marine, the Marine is saluting, I believe, what is his name? Mattis has this just grim, serious visage, and his hand is on his heart, and he doesn't move a muscle. He's like this. And Trump cannot be still. It's beyond him. So he, like this big goofy kid, standing with these other two extremely straight as an arrow, unmoving, serious guys. Trump's got his hand over his heart, and he's sort of like bouncing a little bit to the music. looking around. And then he starts singing. He starts singing along with the anthem, which I guess generally is okay, but clearly in this situation, it wasn't. You could tell it wasn't. This was some kind of very solemn thing. He was looking like, he was acting like people do at a baseball game, you know? If you see it, you'll cringe.
No.
It's another cringe
I hope
moment.
you didn't start cheering halfway through.
God almighty. God almighty. Okay, so anyway,
No,
so into the vacuum caused by America under Donald Trump's receding from the world stage, this little Macron of France is clearly trying to position. He's trying,
right.
and speaking truth to
and
to
he
Putin.
tried to, and I love that he what he did with that handshake with Trump, that he grabbed him and he wouldn't let
him go,
and he went, you aren't going to win this, you bully shit, nope.
Right. Trump tries to break
my language, but I can't talk about him without swearing.
Trump tried to break away from that grip twice, and Macron wouldn't. He was playing Trump's game, and even though Trump outweighs him 2-1, he was saying, buddy. And then he had the guts to take on Putin, which is something that the president of the United States should be doing. It is just, it's just mind-boggling. And then you have Merkel coming out and flat out saying, I guess we're on our own now. And, people are starting to talk about the fact that the EU now might be looking, they might be looking to be a nuclear state. They might be looking, if they can't depend on us. I mean, Trump could have single-handedly started an arms race among people who used to be our allies, but now aren't sure that we'd be there.
Right.
So, really well done, Donald.
And how he can repeat, after he's been corrected a bunch of times, this stuff about how they aren't paying their due, and how, I mean, he's been corrected about the financing of NATO umpteen times, and he can't get it through that thick, stupid skull of his. This man is stupid. And anybody that says that he's quite bright. He's not ignorant. He's stupid. He cannot retain information.
Well, that's what a piece in the New York Times, I think, says today. I can't remember where I read it, but that at these national security briefings that he gets every morning,
you have to give him pictures.
He does want pictures,
and if his name isn't in it, he doesn't read it.
And they say they're not sure.
They put his name in it.
They're not sure how much he's even listening or taking in. He doesn't remember. I don't know. We're in deep shit.
I don't know do you ever watch John Oliver?
Not that much, but I mean, I know he does a hell of a job.
Well, you should call up his last week's show, because he's in the position that Saturday Night Live was, where he doesn't have to make it up; he just reports it.
Yeah.
And he was screaming about this, and it was reported later, word for word, what he was screaming about in the New York Times, that you have to, in order to capture his attention in these briefings, you have to give him pictures, you have to make it very short and sweet, and they have learned that if they insert his name in, that he will keep reading.
Yeah.
So it's just like a stupid actor who cares nothing except how big his role is, looking through a whole script just to find his lines. That's what Trump does on these briefings.
Yeah. Well, by the way, Milton just sent me the video of Trump's middle finger thing. I don't know that that's giving the middle finger. He goes like this. Now, I don't know. That could be a perfectly reasonable. I go like this. Maybe he goes like that. I don't see it. I would not suggest that that's what he was doing. Frankly, I don't.
Well, but it's where we are. Because he does so many things on purpose. Even the things that he doesn't do on purpose are immediately interpreted as being negative. This is not helpful.
Yeah.
And it goes, whether it's true or not, it's directly in line with his boorish behavior to these people.
He's just a
woman wrote in a opinion piece in the Washington Post about Trump and his and golf, and how it makes perfect sense to look at his relationships with Europe and the Middle East through the lens of his golf cart. The places that he interprets everything according to how they reacted to his putting a golf club. He doesn't like NATO because it takes too long to get a permit. He loves, the
in
Middle
Europe
East
to put up his
Dubai
clubs. Right. That's right.
Put his golf course in right away, and and everything is interpreted according to how well he's treated in his business ventures, i.e., his golf courses. And it's not even funny. It appears to be true.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not even funny. Here's something that's not funny either. I will read the first paragraph of the New York Times. I think the first paragraph consists of one very long sentence. Yes, it does. Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law and senior advisor, was looking for a direct line to President Vladimir Putin of Russia. A search that in mid-December found him in a room with a Russian banker whose financial institution was deeply intertwined with Russian intelligence and remains under sanction by the United States. So there you have little Jared prior to their taking office, and he's sitting in this room with a guy who, by the way, graduated from the big Russian spy school, the head of the bank.
And really has a scarily unsavory past.
Right.
Disappearing writers and stuff like that.
Yes. I mean, and he wanted he's looking for a secure line to Russia. Here's what I think a lot of people are missing. This is not, my guess is, it's not like they wanted, I don't think this is like collusion with the Russians in regard to policy. My guess is this was for business dealings.
Oh, yeah, this is self-serving.
That's what I think.
We've
it's
got
just
a certain number of years to get everything in place so we can continue to make gazillions of money.
That's what I think. I don't know that all that money will serve them much when they're in jail. It's unbelievable.
Oh, God, I just can't wait. I just can't wait till we go from lock her up to they're all locked up.
Well, I don't know if we'll see it. I mean, you just don't know what they can prove, and you don't know how long Trump might. He might just stay on so that he will have the power of the pardon. If Jared starts going down or somebody else goes down, he might pardon him, right?
Well, he certainly can, but if these people start getting convicted and he just 2 seconds later is pardoning them all, there will be a huge, huge uproar.
I don't know.
I mean,
yeah, from the same people that have been uproaring since the beginning. And so what? We scream, they are in power.
And they call us whining
snowflakes. Snowflakes.
Whining snowflakes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, so anyway, it's something. It's just something. I think the most horrific thing is just the realization of the damage he's done to our standing in the world, to know that the leader of every country, even those that like him doing what he's doing because they can play him, I mean, the unanimous opinion has to be that this guy is just a clown. And American democracy produced this. And if that doesn't say something about the state of American democracy, I don't know what the hell does.
No, I mean, it's like when Gianforte was elected after, it's apparently this country is in love with white billionaire bullies.
Here's what
Male.
Yeah, Matt Taibbi in Rolling Stone, and I think a lot of people probably already saw this, because he talks about how can a guy, I mean, these creeps that the Russians, the Republicans, I meant, same thing, I guess, these days, that the Republican voter is willing to elect. He said the lesson in the Gianforte win and a lot of other wins seems to be that enormous numbers of voters would rather elect an openly corrupt or mentally deranged Republican than vote for a Democrat. And in fact, America has in recent years repeatedly demonstrated its willingness to vote for just about anybody not currently under indictment for serial murder, as long as that person is not a Democrat. And then he goes into the list, lest we forget. There was the Tennessee congressman who was, one of these family values type. He was a doctor, too. Big anti-abortion guy. And he got busted sleeping with his patients and even urging one of his mistresses to get an abortion. And he still won. You know what? He won in his Bible Belt district with all of that out there. He won by 30 points over whatever Democrat was running. Here's another one, lest we forget. A guy named Michael Grimm. He was running in Staten Island. He, at the time, was under a 20-count federal corruption indictment. He also famously threatened to throw a television reporter off a fucking balcony and break you in half. That guy, under indictment, Republicans voted for him by 13 points over the Democrat running against him. And then, of course, you have Donald Trump. As a guy who's admitted to sexual assault, displayed his homophobia, his Islamophobia, who's dissed POWs, dissed Gold Star families, all this kind of stuff. I mean, you try to remember all this stuff, and Republicans and even Democrats voted for him rather than vote for a Democrat. So this guy, I got to tell you, Taibbi is saying, yoo-hoo, Democrats. What the hell does this say?
You've got a problem.
You've got a problem.
Yep.
And
you better start running as independents. Make another party.
It's the Democrats are obviously, people would vote for a serial killer before they'll vote for a squeaky clean Democrat. That is how much Democrats are reviled. So, and
what about Trump? Not even the serial tweeter. When that crazed man in Portland takes out, these real life heroes that are coming to the defense of little girls. This guy was harassing
2 young girls.
Not 2 young girls.
Teens.
And they come to he tweets nothing. The official presidential tweet line had a Twitter account. It finally, after days, put something out. Wasn't Trump.
It was 3-4 days after the event and after people were saying, why hasn't the president addressed this? And so, he has a Twitter account that is the POTUS Twitter account, which is the one Barack Obama used.
It's not him.
And it's definitely somebody else doing that tweeting for him. His tweets, which he's off and running early this morning. Just crazy this morning already. You know, every other word, all of a sudden, all caps. He's like, he wakes up and he goes...
What happened to that idea about having a lawyer
Yeah.
look at his tweets before they went
if
out? I
anyone
thought
looked.
that was humorous when I saw it. I said, well, where's the lawyer sleeping? Next to him in bed?
Exactly. There's no way unless they take the phone away.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Cause he
And you know what? That's
gets
on
up
his...
in the middle of the night.
Susan, that's on his private phone, right? That's on
What?
his private phone. I don't think, in terms of security, I don't think any... I'm blown...
There's no security around here. Do you remember when they took Obama's BlackBerry away from him because
Right.
it wasn't secure, and he was going nuts because he had to get used to not having
Living
that
with
on
it,
him at
right,
all time. But
right.
no, nothing with this guy. And all of this stuff that they scream about. Let's look at Pence and his emails, which were all on private servers, and and have been under request for show us your stuff, and none of that's been done. All on private servers.
Yet voters would rather vote for more of these Republicans. Obviously, it's not a winning strategy to be doing what we're even doing now, which is just talking amongst ourselves in absolute horror at the debacle that is this Trump presidency. That ain't going anywhere. Here, back to Taibbi, if you'll allow. You can't just dismiss people. He's talking about Democrats not even bothering to talk to Trump voters. You can't dismiss them as lost. Even bad people, even misguided people, unless every great thinker from Christ to Gandhi to Dr. King is wrong, it's especially those people you have to keep believing in and trying to reach. And the Democrats have forgotten this. They're continuing, if not worsening, last year's mistake of running almost exclusively on Trump negatives, on Republican negatives. It's like they don't have anything to say to voters in most of the United States except to point out that they're, at best, dupes for falling for Republican rhetoric. But Republicans are idiots, or Republicans are bad, or Republicans are dangerous is not a message that's working. And the fact is, we continue to lose ground. And people you're not going to get them with our disgust with the Republicans. We've got to have something that's positive. And the Democrats are just lost. They are lost. Here are the numbers right now. Republicans control 68 state legislative chambers. Democrats control less than half that, 31. 68 to 31. Republicans last year flipped 3 more governorships, so that Republican governors are now in control in 33 of the 50 states. And in the time that Barack Obama was president, Republicans gained somewhere around 1,000 seats overall. Now, you can say it's because they're racist, or it's
lessons.
Well,
yeah,
but that
very
doesn't.
Obvious lessons to be learned here.
But,
racism.
But that doesn't, and he calls all those excuses. He said, yes, maybe they're grounded in fact. You can say, but they're gerrymandering, but they're racist, but they're this, and it still doesn't get us anywhere.
Right. And I don't see any big push to discover new candidates or start promoting. I haven't heard anything. I mean, we should already be running. We should be out there and showing people new talent that knows what they're doing and knows what they're talking about and focusing on real issues, and I don't see any of that.
Well, it ain't going to happen just like that. I mean, it's just not. It's not. I mean, I met last week, and I told the audience about it. I met a young man who, very young, very eager, and very fired up. And he's working with two people who might take on one of our entrenched Republicans here, Congressman Murphy. And I know the Democratic National Committee thinks that district is hopeless. But that's where they're wrong. They never fight on all fronts. You gotta keep
you just gotta
coming
fight
back
every single place.
I don't know.
Well, did you happen to glance at the style section of the Sunday Times on Sunday and see that above the fold article about the 15-year-old kid from St. Louis, from University City, who from the time he is 8 years old has been writing a press blog?
No, I still have it, though. I'll look at it.
Is now so popular that he counts among his the people that subscribe several, big name journalists, and who get him press credentials and everything else. And he writes before he goes to school every morning. He's 15. He puts out the day's news in with opinion and clarification. He's very, very good at it, and it cracks. He's the son of the assistant rabbi at the synagogue that I used to go to in St. Louis.
Well, good
and
for
I
him.
Remember this kid as a little kid.
Yeah, little kid. Yeah. Well, I'll look it up. Did you see what Hope Hicks, who is, I don't know, who exactly is she? She's in part of the White House communications team, which just lost its head.
Yeah, right. Because we're getting down to business now, so we'll fire the communications director.
Right. Well, he wasn't one of the guys who was with him. Dubke, whoever even heard of him. But he supposedly was running the communications department. He was sort of like a professional, as opposed to Lewandowski and Bannon and those types. And so he never quite worked out. So he's out. But this Hope Hicks put out this. It's a statement. And it's beyond belief. I heard it on the radio coming in, and Ed just sent it to me, too. Here it is. This is a statement from the White House. President Trump has a magnetic personality and exudes positive energy, which is infectious to those around him. He has an unparalleled ability to communicate with people, whether he is speaking to a room of 3 or an arena of 30,000. He has built great relationships throughout his life and treats everyone with respect. He is brilliant, with a great sense of humor, and an amazing ability to make people feel special and aspire to be more than ever they thought possible.
Well, I'd say you couldn't make this shit up, but she clearly did.
Do you believe that?
No, because, that is describing
believe that.
Not the person that we know. Why would she put that out?
I don't know.
Apropos of what?
Well, someone in the Washington Post said working in the Trump White House, the Washington Post reporter says, working in the Trump White House is basically like working for an insult comic who's always trying out new material. From casually shattering Sean Spicer's dreams of meeting the Pope, to warning everyone from his UN ambassador to his sons that he can fire them any time he pleases. He regularly awards his employees loyalty with undermining pettiness. And to respond to this assertion that working for Trump is awful, the White House's Hope Hicks released that statement I just read to you.
Okay.
And the Washington
I
Post
couldn't believe
reporter
that he
said,
could do something.
listen to this. The Washington Post reporter says this was absolutely not dictated by Trump, but he paced behind her while she wrote it, furiously chewing gum.
God. I mean, I honestly didn't think that anybody could do anything that would make me feel sorry for Sean Spicer, but he did.
He did, and I said the same thing last week.
Because it was just so mean. It was
So
just the
mean.
meanest thing ever.
Yeah, so mean. So mean. That's all the guy wanted. He's a genuine Catholic. It's all he wanted, and he doesn't let him go. Oh, dear. So what I'm wondering, the family dynamics. What's going to happen when Ivanka, if there is now concern that her husband, the father of her children, could go, could be tarnished, could even go to jail, and all because he went to work for her father. At what point does she try to save her family and leave her father, or does she side with the father and her marriage goes bust? What's going to happen there?
I don't know, but I mean, she's got to know who she married, and she doesn't care in the first place. So.
Well, it turns out she married
in a position where she has to choose.
She married a guy very much like her father, but he's got a little more class. That's all.
A little bit more class, and he's probably a little brighter.
I don't know. This is a little rich, privileged kid who bought himself a newspaper when he was 25, who apparently paid twice as much as he should for that building on Fifth Avenue, 666 Fifth Avenue. That was his big buy. They're still trying to recover from that. He's an idiot, too. He's a friggin' idiot. The only difference, as far as I can tell, is I don't think he plays golf. I don't know.
Well, that's generational.
Probably.
The sport of it, it's the other thing that cracks me up, because the sport of golf is dying, and our brilliant businessman Trump is investing all of his money in golf courses, which are going broke hand over fist.
Yeah, they are having trouble.
Don't play it.
Right.
Yeah, the young people don't play golf.
Young people don't play golf. That's true.
Yeah.
It's sort of like some churches are banding together because a lot of them are failing, and country clubs are banding together, so because they're failing. It's true. Yeah, Trump's in a losing business there. Oh, man. So, what we got? We got Joe on the line. Joe, go ahead. Hello? Hi. It's that satellite delay we
Mike's
have.
got a quick comment. They need to change the face of the Democratic Party by getting rid of Schumer and Pelosi. The old school stuff has to go.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to win any.
Well, the thing is that if you look at there isn't a lot of young stuff in the Democratic Party leadership. There just isn't. And yeah, I don't know. It's almost as if what the voters are telling us is that both the Republican and the Democratic Party just ain't what they want anymore, right? And I mean, if you could just wipe them both off the map and start over. I don't know what's going to happen, but Democrats should be. We just never seem to learn. We're always gloating when we have no reason to gloat, and we're always assuming that that we're in the right, and it doesn't matter if you don't convince a whole lot of other people that we are. I don't know.
And get them out to vote.
And get them out to vote. Yep. So, okay. Yeah, I hear you, Joe. Thank you.
Bye.
Appreciate it. Bye.
Bye.
And as if today wasn't bad enough, Frank DeFord died. Who died? She was dead.
Frank DeFord. He was.
No.
What?
No, nothing.
What,
Celine and
what?
I are having a sidebar conversation. Frank DeFord, who, if anybody loved sports writing done right, it was this guy. 40 years at Sports Illustrated, just a great storyteller. And I have to say for the Pittsburgh folks that in the New York Times obit, the one piece of his writing they profiled was a piece that he wrote about Pittsburgh boxer Billy Conn and his wife, called The Boxer and the Blonde, which is generally considered to be one of the best little pieces of. And at the very last part, he's talking about the Conn and his wife when they're older, sitting down in their basement, and he says, this is his writing, "The boxer and the blonde are sitting next to each other, laughing about the old times, about when they fell hopelessly in love almost half a century ago in New Jersey at the beach. Down the Jersey shore is the way everyone in Pennsylvania says it." That's right. I'm going down the Jersey shore. They just don't use the word to. To doesn't exist around here. And DeFord, that catches, his ear was so astute, he catches that. So, and Jared Kushner's father, somebody was tweeting yesterday that Jared Kushner's daddy, Donald Trump's, Jared Kushner's father did time because he actually hired a prostitute to seduce his brother-in-law, and so he could tape it and then send that to the wife, who is his sister. And I mean, this is Kushner's wonderful parents.
And he's a businessman, and all's fair in love.
Oh my God! 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 And then
that's why Christie was in trouble with Kushner, because Christie was the
prosecutor. Right. Do you know there are no U.S. attorneys in the country right now?
No.
He threw all of them out, and they have appointed not a one. This is unprecedented. Well, the word has been worn out.
It's good news for the war on drugs, because they won't be able to federally prosecute these people.
Oh, my God. Well, it's like they do. There's acting attorney general, but there's not. None have gone through the vetting process required, and so and nor have their nominations been sent up to the Senate. There have been no hearings on them. We are absolutely. I gotta.
He dismantled the government. But that's what people wanted. I mean, we aren't listening. To go back to the last conversation, people don't like big government, so they aren't going to be upset that he's dismantled it and leaving all these positions open and not doing anything about it.
No. The thing I keep trying to get...
What do we need a State Department for?
Well, that's true. And actually, Colin Powell, who used to head the State Department, had a piece. Colin Powell. He clearly is coming undone. He talked about the fact that Trump's budget is going to cut the State Department by 30%. And he said, it's already been cut. We need more money, not less. And he said, this is going to leave a vacuum. That's what that's what Trump's doing. He's just leaving vacuums all over the place, which the Chinese, which the Russians, which the Germans, which whatever, the French, I mean, people are moving in.
Yeah, but see opportunity.
Yeah. So Powell says this: it is internationally irresponsible. It is distressing to our friends, encouraging to our enemies, and undermining our own economic and national security interests. He says that's what right now the Trump administration is doing. And
right, and by the way, I'm in protest. Everyone that can afford to buy a Mercedes or a BMW ought to go out and do it right now.
because of his absurd remarks
you know,
about German cars. That was one of his
right,
tweets
which,
today.
Again,
One of his tweets today. He went after.
well, again, it shows a basic
Germany.
misunderstanding of
Right.
how these things work.
Right. Oh God, he's just a friggin' fool. I'm sorry. And Colin Powell went on to say, it is not America first to surrender the field to China, which is rapidly expanding its influence, which is building highways and railroads across Africa and Asia. China is not slashing its development budget. It's growing it by more than 780%. And he's saying their desire to cut out all foreign aid is insane because he said the way to keep America safe is not with bullets and bombs. It is with things like feeding people, right?
Right. You create allegiances by being kind, not by being a despot.
Incredible. Oh, God. Oh, dear. God help us. Yada, yada, yada. The thing I keep trying to say is Trump's dad was arrested 50 years ago, 70 years ago, something at a Ku Klux Klan Memorial Day parade or some kind of event. He was arrested. Fred Trump, KKK. Did you know that?
Doesn't surprise me. I mean, we know how he felt about that through his slumlord practices and redlining buildings and all that sort of stuff.
Right. And speaking of those people, the Trump administration is cutting all the internal agencies that deal with civil rights within the government. So the Environmental Protection Agency, for instance, it's not enough that they have to plan to destroy the environment. They now have proposed eliminating what's called the Environmental Justice Program. And that is a program which addresses the very obvious reality that a lot of times when polluters pollute, they pollute in minority areas. They pollute where poor people live. Right. That's where they pollute.
Think Flint.
Exactly.
Think Flint, Michigan.
Exactly.
Where the state government just decided to
That's
poison
right.
a whole population.
That's right. Well, they're going to get rid of that entire. They are not not going to have that office anymore. The Education Department has proposed absolutely eviscerating their Office of Civil Rights. The Education Department, which has investigated in the past thousands of allegations of discrimination in school districts across the country. And that ain't going to be happening anymore.
Well, because Betsy DeVos is specifically, said it would be up to the states whether they wanted to discriminate against people.
That's right. Oh, that's up to the states. If they want to discriminate, that's
right.
That's their deal.
And I mean, what's interesting about this is that it's now totally dismantling constitutional law and Supreme Court decisions and everything that we understand about the supremacy of federal law over states.
Susan. Susan?
Yeah.
There was I just want to talk about how quickly democracy can go down. I think last week I tweeted out a picture of Afghan women in 1958, and they just look like, they look like cosmopolitan. They look like any American women in 1958. And then what they looked like now walking tablecloths. And then...
Well, you can watch the same thing happen in Turkey in real time.
Right, exactly. It's starting to happen there.
Istanbul was a very cosmopolitan...
Right.
You could be walking down there and think you were in New York City.
Right.
Try it now.
Well, then I see another picture. And this picture is from 1969. Okay, so 10 years later. And it's a picture of Afghan women walking down the street. And again, they just look, it could be the Champs-Élysées. They look that gorgeous, that put together, showing a lot of skin. One of them's got looks like a tank top on. And bang, that was a democracy. That was a civilization. And look, bango. And we are in real time watching our American democracy be dismantled. How do people not see that? We ain't going to be everything we were taught that America was, they are destroying. The reason I pledge allegiance and am able to say the words is for something that's gone, I think, now, from what I can tell.
Yep.
I don't think I'll be pledging allegiance to this country. Oh, somebody wants to take a break. Lynn, Susan, I know you're going to talk to death about how awful this world is thanks to Trump, but can you please show some love for the Penguins, who won Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final last night, a game that had no business winning? That's true.
Yeah, I was wondering when you were going to bring that up. I thought we would start the show with Go Penguins.
Well, one of the reasons I'm going to be jet-lagged sort of all day because I stay up for the games. I get so excited during the games that I can't sleep.
Yeah, you can't sleep.
So the other night it was 2 overtimes on top of it. But yeah, I think they'll win this. This is cool. Anyway, so he goes on to say, the Pens will be the first, if we win this, will be the first Pittsburgh team to win a major sports title at home if we manage to do it in 5 games since the Pirates won the 1960 World Series over the Yankees at Forbes Field. Yeah, this is true. It'd be nice. So somebody, Susan, threw a catfish, the most disgusting-looking thing, on the ice during the game. It was not one of our fans. And he's been arrested, charged with, all these crimes. He apparently brought it up from Tennessee. He walked into the arena with it, stuffed in his pants or something. It's this huge, disgusting, I can't believe it. For all the trouble he went to, I don't think you should criminalize what he did much. Do you? It was a catfish. What did I say? Well, you can't have it happening. That's true. You can't have people doing that.
You can't have people throwing things on the ice,
No.
Throwing things at players, you can't.
Right.
Even if it tends to amuse you, if it's a catfish, you can't.
Okay, and here is, again, Milton, I think, sent me this. In 1927, Donald Trump's father was arrested after a Klan riot in Queens. One man was stabbed, another shot. Police battled hooded Klansmen when they refused to leave. And his daddy was there. And one of the people who got arrested. Trump denies it, saying he was never arrested. He had nothing to do with this. That never happened. Never happened. Never happened. But that's not true. It did happen. 13 people were arrested. 3 people were stabbed.
Well, we all know that Trump's relationship with the truth is...
Well, I know. If whatever he says, you'd think the opposite, and then you'll know what happened, right?
Right. It's like every time he says, believe me.
God. I read that his father would always exhort him by saying, be a killer. Can you imagine?
Well, there was this article in the last couple of days that looked at the responsibility of his father for creating the characters of his two sons, one whom he totally
Drank himself to death.
Drank himself to death, and Donald, who saw what was happening to his brother and decided to go the bully route, which apparently met with his father's full approval. The worse he was, the more his dad liked him.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right.
Not that I'm going to feel sorry for poor little Donnie for deciding to become the person that he is, but there are usually reasons for these things.
Yeah, there are reasons. We all have reasons for...
Totally insecure. He's totally insecure. He stands alone. He has no friends.
Right. Do you know a lot of times you would look at pictures from his European trip where all the other heads of state are like they're animatedly talking to each other? He's standing by himself.
Yeah.
Or when they all went walking in wherever the hell that was in Sicily, and he didn't.
He got into
a golf cart because he's low energy.
No, he only has a finite amount, so he has to save it. You know that we're all born with a finite amount of energy, and that's why exercise is bad for you, because it uses it up.
So did you see Melania's $50-something thousand jacket?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
was
not
that
a Dolce
ugly?
& Gabbana fan.
Was that ugly?
First of all, it was ugly.
It was so ugly.
It was ugly.
It was so ugly that you would say, "Who in the name of God? I wouldn't pay 51 cents for something to wear something like that."
No, it looked like something that was made out of paper and had
crepe paper flowers put all over it. It was the ugliest thing. Oh.
Yeah, but it cost a lot of money and showed those people who was who.
Well, somebody said that she was actually
She was the high point of the trip.
Yeah, she at least comported herself with dignity.
And she was actually honestly smiling several times when she was like with children and stuff like that. She seemed to, I'm not going to find. I didn't like the coat, but she was the only one that didn't embarrass the crap out of us.
I know, but I just had to say, was that ugly or what? $51,000
yeah, it was really
for
ugly.
That piece of crap. They say she did it because, Dolce & Gabbana, you wear a designer from the country you're in. It's a way of paying honor to that industry. So she did it thoughtfully in that regard.
She wore almost exclusively Dolce & Gabbana. I think that's one of the few designers that wants her to be seen in their clothes.
Okay, well, I've had enough, Suze. I'm leaving. I mean, really, we're done. Susan.
Oh, we're done?
Right, we're done. I don't know what your clock says.
Oh, God, we are done.
Yeah.
Okay, it's amazing how time flies when you're totally miserable.
Right, exactly, okay. Exactly. Well, may the rest of your day be brighter, and thanks.
May the next 3.5 years fly by as quickly.
I can't even imagine what we're in for. I can't imagine. Everybody needs to be heavily medicated. All right. Goodbye, all.
Go Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.